Hello, everybody. My name is Herman Hernandez, a solution specialist here at Medidata, and welcome to the Rave Site Payments Value Proposition Training. Today's agenda, we are going to be covering the industry challenges that are typically found around paying clinical sites. We'll talk about the Rave Site Payments solution and the value surrounding that solution. Our Site Payments module is a part of the Rave Medidata Clinical Cloud. As you see here, we really have it lying under the study startup section. So with our CTMS, ETMF, RPQM, and et cetera. However, this really is an over-encompassing module that's really utilized through startup all the way through your actual study conduct, executing payments, and obviously with the study closeout and reconciling your financials. And again, really talking about how the data flows within the Rave Medidata Clinical Cloud, all the way from your data capture and management, and really pushing over to clinical operations. There are many challenges associated with making reimbursements and payments directly to sites. These challenges include the ability to process payments on a timely and accurate basis. Part of this challenge and what leads into that is the current processes that are being run today around site payments are typically inefficient. You're seeing a lot of manual processes, manual calculations, and manual management of those actual sites, typically via Excel files or some type of system in which reconciliation becomes a very manual effort. On top of that, your clients typically have very limited resources available to that particular process. All this leads to that next point, site dissatisfaction. I think when we talk about the site payments process, that is one of the key things here, is keeping your sites as happy as possible so they continue high enrollment for the trials. We'll talk a little later in this presentation about how currently today, sites have no real insight into the financial processes. They have no real insight into where payments are outstanding or when they're even going to receive funds directly from you or directly from your sponsors. Other challenges include being able to calculate and disperse on a global basis and being able to stay in line with local regulations, and the ability to accurately and dynamically report and forecast on your financials for your particular trials. So why do sponsors outsource payments? As we've already talked about, it can become a very burdensome and complex process. If you're talking about a sponsor who, maybe their sweet spot has been phase 2 trials with less. Now they're growing, and they're growing, I should say, into a larger phase 3 trial. You're getting into geographies, different countries that they don't have experience in. It can become very burdensome to make sure that you're staying in line with those local regulations financially to be able to do business and get those funds out the door to those contracted sites. That includes very specific treasury models and very specific guidelines to financial reporting. On top of that, the concept of split payees comes into play, where, especially in a region like Eastern Europe, a single site payment isn't a single site payment. That payment actually has to be recalculated and separately dispersed for each individual payee associated with that particular site. Again, talking about the concept that many of your clients have very limited internal resources. Their financial team may be larger in nature, maybe 5 or 10 people dedicated to the financial process, but a very small percentage of that would actually be dedicated to the actual site payments process. So you're talking 1 or 2, maybe 3 people, like your typical sponsor client, is really running and responsible for the entire portfolio of calculations and site payments for those particular studies. And then really, when a sponsor looks to outsource this process, they are looking for a partner with that core competency, with the expertise to be able to execute these payments on a timely basis and global in nature, and having some type of infrastructure where transparency is given across the board in real time. Medidata's answer to this issue and our solution in place is our Rave Site Payments platform. It is the only end-to-end payment software available on the market that will enable you to pay your sites accurately and on time. How we're able to make that claim and how this process works is we really use kind of a closed loop end-to-end data flow. What you're seeing here is really what makes up the site payments platform today. Obviously, there's going to be study setup and study closeout, but when we break it down, there's really three main components to our site payments platform. There's the triggering, the calculations, and the disbursements. The way this works from a workflow perspective is we are going to be leveraging the EDC data that is coming into the payment system. EDC data can be Rave EDC, which there is an out-of-the-box unification with Rave, but we do have the ability to ingest data from really any EDC data source on the market. This truly is an EDC agnostic platform. What ends up happening is there will be an edit check, let's say for Rave, there will be an edit check that's built into the system. And that edit check is going to act as the trigger, basically the methodology in which you are going to process your site payments. The triggers are flexible in nature. You can trigger based on the completion of site visits, based on the completion of high-value procedures. If you want to trigger a payment based on 100% STV, again, various options that are available to you, and you can mix and match within a particular study depending on the site. That is completely up to you. Once a trigger has been hit, the information feeds over into the payments platform automatically. Your calculations are then automated. Whether we're talking about simple US site payments, in which you're just generally talking about the scheduled assessments and the associated line items, but also if we're talking about more complex calculations for your international payments. So again, that concept of split payments, you have to split a payment 5, 10, 15 times, that's automated right within the system. Our system can also account for fluctuations in the exchange rate, as well as manage multiple currencies on your behalf. We also do support VAT calculation in over 28 countries today. And we do have the ability to calculate withholding tax as well. Once we're done with the calculations, you have the ability to either integrate this with your existing ERP, or you can leverage Medidata to be able to process disbursements on your behalf globally. Our footprint today reaches 120 countries around. So when I talk about the concept of a closed loop platform, that's what we're describing. Utilize the EDC data, trigger off of that data. Calculations are then automated, and we do have the ability to disperse on your behalf. Going back to when we discussed the typical industry challenges, when we started thinking about one of the key issues around that site payments process, it is transparency, and really more importantly, I think, site level transparency. As we've already spoken about, site satisfaction is one of the key things that sponsors, and by extension, you as a CRO, is typically looking to address. In terms of how important financial transparency is to those sites, we ran an SCRS white paper, SCRS survey, I should say. And this is what was communicated to us. 3 of the top 5 issues that have been communicated to us by sites are all around financial transparency. Things as simple as your site being able to see the remaining amount due to your site by study, sites being able to access and search for all invoices currently paid, and being able to review how much you've been paid to date by study. Even something as simple as a remittance report being sent with each and every disbursement to the site is something that's not commonly available today with any other method. However, we have the capability to do so with our site payments model. And going a little bit further into the reporting and transparency capabilities, this is an example of the out-of-the-box reports that are available to all of our clients. You'll be able to track in near real-time live accruals, open payment reports, a full suite of financial accounting reports, and again, that's site-level access. Sites will have the ability to go in and be able to track their own financials in near real-time. Wrapping up, again, our site payments module is fully scalable. We do have a global capability. We do have the ability to process payments in over 120 countries. Real-time transparency, being able to give that transparency to all major parties across the board, yourself as a CRO, your sponsor clients, as well as your sites, which is really the key component there. And the proven expertise of our platform. We have 37 current clients. We've processed payments in 65 different countries, 42 currencies, and $2.9 billion have been calculated and processed within our payments module. So again, to further wrap up on what we've spoken about today, yes, there's an integration with our Rave EDC platform. So any of your clients that are leveraging Rave EDC, it's a no-brainer to consider correlating this with our site payments module. However, keep in mind, this is an EDC agnostic and data source agnostic module. This will drive site satisfaction, and that, along with the reporting and transparency, I think is really the key component here. Being able to attract good sites and encourage enrollment because you're able to guarantee timely and accurate payments as per your contract terms. This includes encouraging your clients and yourselves to be able to contract with all sites on a 30-day basis if possible. So that's everything here that we have. Again, I thank you for the time. My name is Herman Hernandez. If there are any questions, you'll be able to access more information from our partner portal. And on top of that, my contact information will be available there as well. Thank you so much for the time. Take care.